Good morning. Morning. You're Marcus Elam? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Elam was previously in court where he pled true to counts 1 through 7 in a motion to revoke his unadjudicated probation. He was originally on probation for burglary of a habitation. I've now received an updated pre-sentence report. Has everyone had a chance to review it? I have. I have not, Your Honor. Are there any changes or corrections needed to the report? No, nothing's been altered. Everything remains the same. All right. Mr. Lewis, you may proceed. Welcome to a courtroom where second chances are handed out like Halloween candy until the judge runs out of patience. Meet Marcus Elam, a young man who turned probation into a game of legal hide-and-seek. Let's run down his rap sheet. Burglary of a habitation, check. Violating probation, check. Disappearing without a trace, check. And now he's back, with a heartfelt monologue about change, family loss, and promises of turning his life around. But is this redemption, or just the unnecessary sequel no one asked for? Your Honor, there's no denying Marcus made several poor choices during probation. He failed to meet his obligations, but after speaking with him and noting the time he spent in custody, he appears to be serious about complying with court orders moving forward. He's aware of how costly his mistakes have been, and he understands the weight of the consequences he now faces. He would also like the opportunity to address the court and speak on his plans for the future. Go ahead, Mr. Elam. Yes, ma'am. I know I made some mistakes when I was on probation, but I'd like to start over. I want to get my life right, go back to work, be there for my family. My mother passed. I want to take care of her bed and do anything else the court asks of me. Yes, the classic "I've changed" speech. His attorney's out here performing verbal gymnastics to justify why Marcus ghosted his probation officer like a bad Tinder date. And now, suddenly, he's willing to comply. The man had to be arrested to even appear in court. And the emotional twist? His grandmother passed away. Suddenly, all responsibility vanishes. Look, we all grieve. But most of us don't spiral into felony sequels when our support systems fall apart. Since when does losing someone give you a free pass to fire guns and dodge arrests? Let's get into the real issue. The 5 new offenses. The judge asks for updates. And what do we hear? I didn't look him up. Really? This man fired a gun, evaded police, failed to identify himself, and we're treating it like a missing homework assignment? He pled true to discharging a firearm on August 16, 2023, while still on probation. That's not just a slip-up, that's a full-blown siren. And we're acting like it's just an administrative mix-up? Then there's the evading charge, the failure to identify and obstruction from 2023, dismissed but still part of a pattern. Even if charges were dropped, the behavior remains, and he pled true to enough to show a clear timeline of trouble. The state says it's torn. Understandable. He disappeared for nearly 2 years. That's not falling behind on check-ins. That's a vanishing act. And while he was MIA, he picked up enough charges to fill a court calendar. Even if some were declined by intake, he pled true to multiple offenses. No felony convictions yet, technically, but the mountain of misconduct says otherwise. The judge had once ordered him to ISF, but something, pending charges, no available, bed, or just another ghost move got in the way. He was released but never got back on track, so now the judge has to weigh it all. A young man with a chance at freedom who instead collected more charges and vanished into thin air. And now he wants another chance? Cognitive in 2023. Mr. Lewis mentioned Marcus never actually made it to ISF. It's unclear. Was there no bed available? Did he time out? Or was it because of new pending charges? The timeline's fuzzy, but what's clear is that ISF was ordered, and it never happened. Whether that's tied to a prior motion to revoke or new charges, we're not sure. But at some point he got out, walked right out of jail. Was there any official record? He never completed the ISF because legally, he couldn't. Pending cases were blocking his entry. And let's not forget, he was also ordered to complete moral recognition therapy. Didn't show up for that either. So yes, it was the new charges that kept him from doing what he was already supposed to do. Let's step back. You were placed on deferred adjudication for burglary of a habitation, a serious second-degree felony, a second chance, a legal lifeline. And what did you do with that chance? You vanished. You didn't just miss a check-in or skip court once, you disappeared for nearly 2 full years. That's not a probation violation, that's going off the grid. And while you were off the map, what happened? New charges, like you were collecting them. Deadly conduct with a firearm. Assault, family violence. Evading arrest, failure to ID. A whole list of fresh violations while your probation terms were gathering dust. You skipped ISF like it was a canceled appointment. And MRT therapy? Never attended. You know what this looks like? This doesn't look like someone who's trying. This looks like someone running from the law, from accountability, from every opportunity they were given. Let's recap. You're given probation for burglary. Then you commit 3 new offenses on the same day. Not 1, 3. 2 of those involved firing a weapon. 1 of them, assault. Despite that, you're still offered ISF as a lifeline, structured rehab, treatment, behavior change. But again, you don't go. Whether it was pending charges or not, the outcome is the same. You get released, and what's the first thing you do? Evade arrest. Fail to identify yourself. So now you're here, again. And you want to start over. And you're sorry, but let's be honest, how many times are we supposed to buy that? You stopped showing up. Not for a few weeks, not for a few months. You were gone for a year and 7 months. You thought you could just vanish and the system would forget about you. Now the judge has had enough. And rightfully so. You pled true to the gun charge. You pled true to everything else, while on probation, and now you're in front of the court again asking for a do-over? This isn't a video game. There's no reset button. You don't get to fail level 3 and just respawn. At level 1, you're 23 now. You were 19 when this started. And in all that time, you've shown the system one thing. You're not growing up, you're not learning, you're not improving. Your PO tried to help you. She worked with you, but only when you bothered to show up. The court tried. Even now, the state is torn. But let's get real. How many lifelines should one person get? And this is what frustrates judges, attorneys, probation officers across the board. Young people showing up with gun-related offenses while already on probation for serious crimes. Shooting, running, refusing to engage with the system, and then returning later with a sad story, asking for one more chance. You've had your chances. So here's the final decision. I find that you entered your plea of true to counts 1 through 7 freely and voluntarily. I find the allegations to be true. I find sufficient evidence to support a guilty finding. At this time, I find you guilty of burglary of a habitation. 6 years. That's the sentence. This case is more than frustrating. It's tragic. A young man with potential, now headed to prison because he threw away every opportunity he was given. And still the judge hands him a trial court certification, explaining his rights. Fairness, even in judgment. And just to be clear, because of this conviction, you are no longer eligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. If you do, you can and will face new charges. Read the document I'm giving you. If you have questions, speak to your attorney. 6 years. That's how long it takes to finally realize that second chances aren't infinite. That apologies don't undo destruction. That I'm sorry eventually loses meaning. So tell me, how many last chances would you get if your name wasn't Marcus Elam? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are we too soft or just too late? You're 23 now. This all started when you were just 19. And from then until now, you've shown the system one thing. You're not growing. You're not learning. You're not changing. Your probation officer gave you chances, tried to work with you, but only when you decided to show up. The court gave you opportunities. Even the state is conflicted. But let's stop pretending. How many lifelines does one person get? This is exactly what wears the system down. Young people walk into court with violent charges while already on probation for serious crimes, guns, fights, running from law enforcement. And then they come back saying, I've changed, asking for another shot. You've had your shot. You've had several. So here's the court's ruling. The court finds that you entered your plea of true to counts 1 through 7 freely and voluntarily. The court finds the allegations are true. There is sufficient evidence to support a guilty verdict. You are hereby found guilty of burglary of a habitation. The sentence? 6 years. It's more than disappointing. It's heartbreaking. A young man full of potential, throwing away every opportunity placed in front of him. And even now, the judge gives you your paperwork, explains your rights, treats you fairly, even in judgment, just so there's no confusion. Because of this felony